Hi, and I'm Angel Morgan. Welcome to Messages from an Angel. This is our episode 2. This is our season 1. I'm so excited. Today we're talking about, are psychics legitimate? This is a topic that is close to my heart, and I will tell you there is a lot out there that we can talk about in regards to what do psychics do? How do psychics do it? And how do you find one that's legitimate? How do you really know whether a psychic is real or whether a psychic is a fraud? And trust me, there are a lot of them out there. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, I am Angel Morgan and I am a psychic. Although our show is about empowerment and joy and inspiring, we also do the esoteric and we take a look at all of these different things. We take a look at astrology on the first Thursday of every month. The second Thursday of every month, we're going to have a psychic with me who will be reading people as they call into our number 647-931-4701. You can actually also Facebook us some comments, or you can Instagram and Twitter us at hashtag messages from an angel, and I will answer, or myself and the other psychic will answer live. Starting next week, we're going to have our guests and we're going to have a lot of fun. But today, since being a psychic is a huge part of our show, I wanted to really discuss what that meant and what that's all about. When we come back, we're going to talk about what it's like to be a psychic.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Want to talk about. So first things first is, what is a psychic? What does that mean? I was looking up Webster's Encyclopedia, and they actually got it right. In Webster's Encyclopedia, they define it as somebody who has knowledge that is supernatural, outside the natural world. What I thought was really cool is I went to the Cambridge Dictionary. It was completely different and, in my eyes, a little bit inaccurate, because what they talk about there, how they define it, is that it is someone who has mental skills and mental abilities, who can tap into other worlds or other things that are unnatural or against natural science. The reality is being a psychic or intuitive abilities really come from the body. They come from the spirit. When the mind and the body and the spirit are connected, that's when we can actually connect, when we can talk to ghosts, when we can talk to spirits, and it's called tapping in. When we tap in, what we're doing is we're networking. So, if you were to think of yourself as a computer, we're all computers. My computer networks with your computer. And what happens is that when we network, you download all your information to me, and I download all my information to you. The only difference is that I can read the information. It's like a muscle. I've strengthened that muscle so much that the information comes very, very quickly. So, as a psychic, what we do is something that's actually natural to all of us. When people turn to me and they go, oh, you're so gifted, you're so amazing, you're so this, actually, I'm only doing what we are meant to do. So those moments, which I know everyone has had, where you think to yourself, oh my God, I haven't heard from that person in like 2 years. And all of a sudden, they call you, That's actually considered a psychic experience. A lot of people have dreams and premonitions within their dreams and that come from their dreams. These are also considered psychic experiences. Most people will have them only when they need to in their lives, or if they're on the right vibration, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the reality is as a psychic, we choose to do this in awareness. We choose to say, okay, you know what? This is something that we want to explore. Now, some of us are born with this capacity wide open. If you think of the brain and we only use 18 to 20% of our brains, what is that other 80%? The reality for me is that other 80% is completely unexplored by most of us. But then you have those gifted people who have just a smidge of that brain capacity open to them. And those people who are born with these abilities open or these skills open, some of them have a really hard time because we're not living in a society that nurtures these kinds of skills. This is left for the movies, for Harry Potter and for all those different things. My reality, again, is, and I keep using that word reality, because it is a reality. There is the mental, physical state which we live in, which is our material world. It's our everyday being, it's our conscious being, whatever you want to call it. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound too new agey, but it's the idea of we need to and like to use our physical senses, our sight, our touch, our senses of smell, our senses of hearing, and our senses of taste. And because we need that tangible, it's hard for us to go outside it. Now, here's the thing. I'm moving over to camera 2 because I like to move. Oh, man, Anisha, you're awesome. My producer, Anisha, I love her so much. She's so great. The thing is that because this is a natural part of who we are, we have taught ourselves to dismiss when we have psychic and intuitive abilities. We have to see it, feel it, touch it, smell it, hear it in order for it to exist to us. But the thing is that we ourselves can sit there and go, you know what? That just was something I experienced. Oh my God, we have our first call of the show. So I'm going to take this call right now. And who am I speaking with? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I can hardly hear you. Anisha, can we turn that up?
Angel?
Hello?
Am I speaking with Angel?
Oh, I can hardly hear you.
I don't know why I can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me? Oh, that's awesome. And what's your name?
Linda.
Sorry, Anisha? Linda. Hi, Linda. How are you?
You know me, Linda T.
So what can I do for you? What is your question today?
What is with JT, Delinda, and Cassie?
Anisha, can you tell me what that question was? Can you repeat that again, please?
What is with JT, Delinda, and Cassie with not eating?
What is what?
JT.
Do you know what, Linda? We're going to come right back to you when Anisha sorts that out a little bit, but please stay on the line for us because I absolutely want to talk to you, okay?
Okay.
So as we were saying earlier, it is an innate ability for us to be psychic and to be intuitive. It is something that is naturally born in us. But what happens is we dismiss it. We are the kings and queens of dismissing the things that are happening to us in the natural world. So if we have a psychic experience of whatever kind, we may hear a whisper and of our voice that says our name. And we'll go, what was that? Oh, you know what? That was just the wind. Oh, you know what? That couldn't possibly have happened. Rather than saying that, how about humoring that something could have happened and saying, hey, you know what? I don't know if it did. I don't know if it didn't. But just in case it did, thank you so very much for that experience. A lot of people will come to me and they will ask me, I had an experience when I was so-and-so age. Was this real? Well, you know what? A lot of times it is. A lot of times it isn't. So how can you tell the difference? There are a few ways to be able to do that. One, is it something that is connected to what you're doing? So let's say you're looking at a photo album and you're looking at Aunt Bessie and you're looking at a dead old Uncle Mike, and all of a sudden you start thinking of them. Well, you've been looking at the photo album, so of course you're going to start thinking of them. But if you are doing the dishes very quietly, and all of a sudden you hear, old great Uncle Vincent's name, there's a really good bet that old Uncle Vincent is standing with you somewhere. And that's where you just say, you know what, thank you. And a lot of people experience chills. A lot of people experience shadows that go by them. Don't dismiss them. If it freaks you out, just go, you know what, whatever you are, just please go away. Or you can say, you know what, who are you? Ask those questions. Children who are gifted, and we are seeing more and more and more of them. Kids who are, I shouldn't say gifted, kids who are more aware of the supernatural or the unseen world, let's call it. These kids are growing up not even knowing any different, but that this is something we are like, that they are like. So I'll give you an example. I had a friend who was a little girl, and she would draw pictures. And in these pictures, she would draw rainbows over all the people who were there. And one day her mother came up to her, she's about 5 or 6, and she says to her, why do you do that? Why do you keep drawing rainbows around people? Why do you keep doing that? And she looked at her and she said, Mommy, don't you see the lights around the people? Don't you see all of those different things around them? And it hit my friend, who was very, very aware of these abilities, that she was seeing what's called the aura. And the aura is the light body that's around us. It's an amazing thing. It's beautiful, and it's different colors. If you think of a rainbow, it really does look like that, and it goes within us, without us, like beyond us. It's an incredible thing. And there are people who can see this. So she thought that everybody could see the way she did. And her mother didn't discourage her, but she didn't encourage her either. She said, oh, you know what, that's really cool. That's really good that you can see that. When kids have these abilities, the only reason that they lose them, or that they quiet them, or that they turn them down, is because we teach them that this is something that is a fairy tale, that isn't real. It's actually taught out of us. From the ages of 0 to 7, what happens is our eye is actually fully open. We are looking with the periphery of our eye, and we can actually see all the other worlds around us. And that's how we actually see, is with the periphery. It's at 7 years old, when we start getting into grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, that we're taught to focus. We have to focus on what we're doing, and we start to use the center of our eye, or the pupil. This is when we start to lose the periphery, or lose that vision in the periphery where we can see other worlds. And I'm not kidding, this is actually how it works. So then we start to also lose our sense of the imaginative. Now we start to get a little more serious about school. We're not as interested in those imaginary friends that we used to have. And a lot of times, too, with children, imaginary friends aren't necessarily imaginary. We're actually going to do a whole show with experts on this. We're about psychic children. And this particular show, I'm just going to kind of give it an overview of all the things we're going to be doing. But psychic children will have kids who are absolutely connected to their guides and guardians and angels and archangels, but we call them their imaginary friends because we don't know any better. I'm looking right now at Linda Tailing. Linda Tailing, it is me. Hi, Linda. How are you? Linda is a fan of a lot of the shows that I do. She's a fan of my Rogers show, and she's a fan of my News Talk 1010 show. It's amazing. She's so cool. I have a lot of wonderful, wonderful people who support me and support my shows, so I'm really happy that she's here with us today on Facebook. So you can comment on Facebook, let us know that you're watching, and you can also call in, and you can also hashtag messages from an angel on Twitter and Instagram if you have a question. Like our caller just now, if you can't get through and we can't make that work, please feel free to Facebook us or Instagram us, because I'm really, really excited to have you on our show.
So,
yes.
I'd like to know,
yeah.
what's going on with JT, Delinda, and Cass?
Okay, so as I was saying, I know JT, Delinda, and Cassie. These are her dogs, and I have read them before. So for those of you who don't know, I am an animal communicator, and I love talking to animals because, again, when we have these psychic abilities, if we can talk to the dead and we can do mediumship, we can actually talk to animals, we can talk to the living, we can do all kinds of stuff. We don't have to kind of categorize it into one thing, but we'll get back to that. We're going to talk about Delinda, JT, JT and Cassie. Cassie's actually feeling a lot better right now. I know that they were going through a little bit of a flu or a cold. JT's a little bit tired. Leave him alone. I'm hearing leave him alone, and he'll get better. He just needs a little bit of rest, but he's actually better than even when we talked last, and I believe that was last week. So he's doing well. And Delinda, she's the oldest of the bunch, and she's wonderful. She worries about everything, so she's a little worried. And Linda, she's a little bit worried about you right now because you're worried about them. So when you worry, she worries. But she worries about your health, especially when you start to stress out. She concerns herself. So all she keeps saying is, can you sit down? Could you please just sit down? Sit down. Really, sit down. So my suggestion is put your feet up, chill out, and let her sit on your lap, because that's what she's going to do to keep you there, okay? And she wants to talk to you. She just wants to know how you are. So if she jumps on you, say today or tomorrow, what have you, and she just kind of stares at you, just let her know that everything is okay. I hope that answers your question. Now, animal communications. Again, that's a whole nother side of being psychic. When we talk to animals, we are talking from heart to heart. It is not a telepathic thing. It is not something that we do with our heads. Animals understand that we are pure inside and we're able to talk to them, and this is why they're able to talk back. They know when people are to stay away from and those ones to come close to. Now, getting back to what is a psychic? A psychic is somebody who can network with your computer, okay, and can network with any particular computer around the world. There is an ethics that is involved in that. If I'm walking down the street, I don't want to be Teresa Caputo. I really, really totally don't. As much as I admire what she can do, the idea of stopping people in the street and kind of turning around and going, oh, should I tell them? Really? Should I tell them? Should I tell them what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing? That's not quite my style. And to be honest with you, everybody knows who she is now. So they kind of know when she's got a camera following her that, you know, that she's there to read them. So I'm not like that. My thing is if I'm supposed to give somebody information, I will be moved to give them the information, and I won't do it if they're a stranger. Or what I will do is I will call on my posse, and a lot of psychics have a posse or a team that they work with, guides, guardians, angels, archangels. And what they do is they will give you the openings and the opportunities to be able to say what you need to say if you have to say it. So what I will do is if I'm, say, in a mall and I get a piece of information for somebody, I will stop and I will say, if I am supposed to give this piece of information to this person, please give me the opportunity. And that's actually happened quite a number of times where I'll be walking and then a person will literally bump into me and we'll start talking. It's a really cool thing. I actually have a story around that. When I took my son to one of his new doctors, an old woman, a spirit of an old woman, actually physically came through the wall. I got tons of these stories, ladies and gentlemen. And she came through the wall and she kept saying, tell her about the car, tell her about the car. I need her to know about the car. Now, I didn't know this woman. So what I did is what I normally do. I sat there and I said, you know what? If I am supposed to give her this information, please give me the opportunity. The next time I even thought about it was 3 hours later at dinner. I had completely forgotten everything. Like literally, I was talking to her, asked a question. I actually saw the old woman turn around, go back through the wall, and then the next thing I remember was we were at dinner. So when you're supposed to say something, you will. When you're not supposed to say something, they will give you a signal that it wasn't meant for you to see. So what happens if you get a piece of information for all those people who are intuitively aware and you don't have the opportunity to give it? What do you do with that piece of information? Well, it's a random piece of information. If you have an energy around you that acts like a network, sometimes those little pieces of information get caught. So when you walk past somebody, you can grab a random piece of information, download it and go, oh my God, they need to know, when really they don't need to know anything at all, okay? As I said earlier, the reality is that we are innately psychic. We have intuitive ability. Just going to our closets every morning going, do I feel like wearing this or do I feel like wearing that? And going with that sense of feel, as we were talking about last week, that whole feel lifestyle thing, that actually is where it begins. When we start to become aware of what we feel, when we start to become aware of our truth and have the courage to act on it, all of a sudden, all this information comes to us. Now, The other thing is that because we're all innately psychic, we can actually read each other. So when you're having an argument with someone and you're going, oh, I don't know, this doesn't feel right. Trust that. Sit with it for a second and see if it feels like if it's true or not. And how do you know if it's true or not? Because you can feel it. You just know. It's called the knowing. And the more you know yourself, the more you know who you are, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, your value system, your belief system, the more you can discern between your energy and an energy that's foreign to you, like somebody's anger that's not yours. Okay, this is called being empathic. People are so empathic, they can feel what other people feel, but they're not aware enough to be able to discern what's theirs and what's not. Ladies and gentlemen, that does come with practice. After 16 years, I'm really, really good at it, but even then, there are times when my abilities are in question, or I question them myself. And that's another thing, psychics, real psychics, good psychics, great psychics, do question themselves, because we're here to empower, we're here to help, we're here to heal. So I do have those moments, and we all have those moments of, oh my God, am I saying the right thing? Oh my God, am I wrong? Am I getting me wrong? But it's about putting that away and becoming fearless. The act of being fearless is knowing there's something to be afraid of, but moving through it anyway. A really, really good example of that was I was on News Talk 1010, which I do monthly on Friday nights, 8:30 to 9:30 every first Friday night. And on News Talk 1010, I'm Angel the Psychic, and there was a woman. She called in, and I said to her, I said, I see your son. And she goes, I don't have a son. And of course, my heart stopped. And the host, Barb DiGiulio, she looks at me, and I looked at her and I said, no, I see your son. I said, he's a tall man, he's this, he's that. I described him. And she was adamant that she didn't have a son. And I'm very honest. So I turned around and I said, do you know what? If you remember later on, let me know. But just understand he's here and he really, really wants to connect to you. And Barb turned around, Barb DiGiulio, who's the host of The Night Side, she turned around and she said, Angel, when you're adamant about something, when you really know that it's happening, you get like this, so I know that there's something there. And then all of a sudden, the woman turned around and she goes, if it helps, she said, my first husband passed away, and he had a son who was my stepson. Ba-dum-bum. The thing is that for us, there is no son, there is no stepson, there is no adopted, there is children. They are ours once we embrace them. And Barb and I looked at each other, and I took a sigh. I was like, oh, thank God. Oh my God, I'm still 100% here. And she turned around and she said, yeah. And she goes, well, as a matter of fact, and then it started to come out, as a matter of fact, I've been thinking about him lately. And the question she called in with was, how is my family? So I still wants to talk to you. So I can feel when something is inaccurate, but I can also feel after 16 years of doing this when it is accurate. And I can step back, and I have no problem in saying, you know what? I don't know if that's me or if that's actually spirit. Give me a second. Let me fall quiet. At that point, I'll fall still. I'll close my eyes, I'll tap in, and I will start to ask questions. I will ask my guides, my guardians, my angels, my archangels. I will ask them, hey, what's going on? Why are you showing me this? What is the purpose? Who are they really? Can you give me a name? This is when questions become really important for a psychic to themselves. When we come back, we're going to talk about how you can tell a real psychic from a fake. Because the reality is, they're out there.
Have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
And we're back with messages from an angel, and I am your host, Angel Morgan. I'm really excited to be here. If you want to know more about me and what I do, you can go to raisingenergy.com, or you can go to Facebook. Raising Energy is my page. You can also go to mytcntv.com and watch previous episodes of this particular show if you missed today's show. Please feel free to YouTube us and comment there. Happy to have her on the show. She's obviously my first guest. Anisha says, I should have you over here, is what I should do. So we were talking in the last talk about the legitimacy of psychics and how do you find one that is legitimate. One of the jobs that I have kind of given myself over time is to really warn people about those people who are not legitimate. They scare me. I had a woman come in once, and she had spent $10,000 and given all her family jewelry to this woman who said she had a curse on her and had read all this stuff. And she was in tears, and we sat down and I read her for an hour, and she said, well, what do I owe you? She didn't even ask me what the price was. That's how desperate she was. And I looked at her, I said, you know what, you've paid enough. I said, I'm here to help, so I think it's just best if you get this reading and we be done with that. And this was very early in my career. It's about the client. It's about the person. That's the first thing. You need to feel comfortable with the reader that you're sitting with. If for whatever reason you feel afraid or you feel uncomfortable or they don't resonate or they say something to you that scares you, politely get up and leave. That is not their job. Their job is to help you. Their job is to guide you and make you feel good by the time you leave that room. A lot of people will say, don't you get information that is dire, like someone's going to die or someone's going to have a heart attack or someone's going to... Yes, I do. And I had one circumstance where I saw a gentleman having a heart attack, and I'm not going to turn around and say, hey, you know what, you're going to have a heart attack. That's not me. What I do say is, listen, you need to start to eat for your heart, and you start to look to your heart health, or I can see problems happening in the future. A lot of times people are stupid. People are not stupid. They know what you're talking about. A lot of them too, and this is one of the things I love about my clients, well, they will say, and I will sometimes say, listen, you know what, can I be honest? And if they say, yes, I can be honest, I will say, listen, you know what, there might be some health issues here. You want to go to the doctor. They may be serious, but going to the doctor, getting that checked out, that's the best route for you to go. I had one woman come in, and she asked me when she was going to die, and my guides and guardians showed me that she already knew. And I said, why are you asking me a question you already know? And she goes, I want to see if your date matches mine. She was a psychic, and our dates matched. What was really funny is that she passed away about a week and a half after. She was very, very ill, by the way. She passed about a week and a half after the prediction had come to pass. And with psychics, you have to understand, you need to give that leeway sometimes of a few days or a week. Predicting children is a really good example of that. When we predict children, there is an element of not guessing involved, but the child has its own free will. So you can pin a date, but it may be a few days after or a few days before. So you always have to give a psychic a little bit of room and understand that they're actually wanting to help you. I have had a lot of readers, not myself personally, but a lot of readers where clients will call back and they'll say, you were completely inaccurate, you're completely this, completely that, only to find out later that the reader was absolutely right, only it happened a short time after they had called them and reamed them out. The closest I've ever gotten to that was I had an animal communications read, and this woman came in. She had 3 Rottweilers, and she was like, no, 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 everything you're saying is wrong, 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 wrong. And I said, all right, you know what? Okay, fine. Keep your money. That's okay. Don't worry about it. She's a really nice woman. And she turned around and she said, would you like to meet my dogs? And I said, absolutely, I would. Yes, I would. And again, this was very, very early in the show. Thank you, Anisha. Anisha says she loves the show. I love Anisha. She's cool. And we went out to the car, and she had her 3 dogs there. And I met them, and she said to her husband in front of me, she goes, she was inaccurate about everything. She said this and this and this and this and this. And the husband turned around and he said, well, wait a second. Don't you remember when this dog went through this and this and this, and this dog went through this and this? She's absolutely right. And I turned to the woman very polite and said, can I get paid now, please? Thank you, please. The reality is sometimes when we're with a reader too, I heard you laugh, by the way. The reality is too, is that when we're sitting with someone like me, especially if it's the first time, clients will tend to forget. Clients will tend to not remember things because they're nervous. They don't know you. As far as they're concerned, you have this, supernatural skill that nobody knows where it came from. And you can do things that are superhuman. And it's scary and it's nerve-wracking, and oh my God, what if you can see something bad? What if you can see parts of me that I don't want you to see? These are all the things that go through a client's head, okay? So the reader also, here's tip number 2, needs to be compassionate. They can't be like Sylvia Brown, God rest her soul, I thought she was really nice. They can't be harsh or aggressive. Being direct is good. Overly direct is harmful. It is not helpful. If someone's coming in for closure or they don't have an understanding of their situation, we can't treat them like they're stupid or they don't get it. We have to treat them like, you know what? Here's a healing. Here's someone who needs empowering. Here's someone that we can help and guide, because we can get extra information for them and put pieces of the puzzle that they don't have together. So that's the other thing you're looking for, is a reader who is compassionate, kind, someone who is tolerant, because a lot of them are very frustrated and jaded as they get older. And someone who isn't going to rook you. That is a huge deal, people. My thing is this. If a reader asks you more than the going price at the time, don't go there. Right now, in 2018, we're looking at between $140 for an hour to about $200, okay? Depending on the reader, depending where they are, depending on what they do and how skilled they are. $140 to about $200 is actually considered reasonable. Think of the skills that they're using. This is not a joke. This is a real live skill, and it's an expertise that they've been honing their whole lives, or for years and years and years, to be able to help people. And when they come in, they are becoming vulnerable for you. They're actually sitting there and going, I could be wrong, I could do something, but I'm here to help you, and I'm putting myself on the line as well as you. So, you know what? Be a little gentle with them, okay? The money that you're spending with a really good reader is going to be worth the time and worth the money. Now, a reader doesn't always talk to the dead. That's the other thing. A reader can do pretty much everything. You have mediums who can only talk to the dead, or who think they can only talk to the dead, because once you can read one thing, as far as I'm concerned, you can read anything. The limitations we have are the ones we place on ourselves. You have those who are what they call medical intuitives. They can look at you and they can actually see the ailments in you, and they can actually pick them out and that kind of stuff. There are a lot of doctors who are medical intuitives, and they don't even realize they are. They just do it naturally. People are considered naturals. Animal communicators, people who talk to animals. And then there are people, and there are tons of different there are different kinds of categories for working psychics. And so then you have the clairvoyant. And the clairvoyant is one who can do a lot of the different things, and a huge gambit of that. I guess I would consider myself a clairvoyant. I consider myself a reader, simply because I also work with healing medicines. You do have those psychics who go beyond just the psychic work. They use their psychic abilities to work with medicine people from different countries, the way I do, or to do work with Reiki, and they use it to go deeper into those modalities. So you have that thing called the clairvoyant, and then you have what I know as the reader, and that's someone like me. And there are a lot of them out there. So Being a psychic also entails different skills, as I was saying, like clairaudience, which is to hear. You can hear angels, guides, guardians. A lot of people get this really high-pitched sound, and they think it's tinnitus. Tinnitus is when you get like a ringing in the ears, like a million different bells. A lot of times that's tinnitus, but sometimes the odd time that's actually also being able to hear guides, guardians, angels, archangels. But when you hear that high-pitched sound, if you fall into and allow it to open up, you'll start to hear the other side, so to speak, or even remote hear, what we call remote hear, and you can hear other places too. And I know there are some people out here who are not buying this, and I respect that. That's one of the things that I love about my work, is I love that there are people who don't buy into this, because those are the people who challenge us, who keep psychics real, who protect people who can fall into that trap of a psychic who's not legitimate. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Then you have clairsentience. Clairsentience is when you can smell. People can smell cigarettes, or they can smell flowers, and it's not in the room. They can smell something of a dead ancestor or a guide or a guardian or whatever. I have a friend who loved this horse so much she could actually smell the stables around the horse. She was an animal communicator. That's called clairsentience. So clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, which is all of it all together. Now, as I was saying just now, and I think I forgot my train of thought, we were talking about clairaudience. We were talking about hearing different things and hearing angels and guides and guardians. I've lost it. That's okay. We'll come back to it. So the next thing I want to talk about is, again, overview of what you can look for when you are looking for a reader. First of all, how much do they charge? Anything over the going rate, it's not for you. Someone who cares about you, someone who actually cares about the client. That's really important, because if they care about the client, it means their heart center, which means they can connect more accurately for you. Someone who is compassionate, tolerant, patient, because what you're going through might need some sensitivity that's involved. The other thing that I would look for as well is how close in proximity are they to you. So if you can do a Skype reading with someone because you're not in the same country that you love them, that's absolutely fine with me. But if you can find someone local, that works too. Skype, phone readings are just as accurate. I know for myself, I get that question all the time. Is a phone reading, is a Skype reading accurate? Yes, it's 100% accurate, but be very, very careful, because if you go out there and you call those like 1-800 numbers and the call a psychic and all that kind of stuff, what they tend to do is they actually tend to keep you on the phone so that you'll be spending more money, okay? What you want to do is find a reader who is referred. Okay, referrals are always the best. Even me, you know, when I need a reading, and there are those days that I do, because sometimes you get emotionally connected and you're just like, okay, I know what I'm seeing, but I need validation, I need confirmation of this, and I'll go to my friends. There are a select few of psychics that I will trust, and you're going to meet some of them actually on this show. But that's the thing, it's someone that you need to feel comfortable with. And when you get a referral from someone, that really helps, and it really heightens that particular thing. If you don't have a referral, then you can go on the internet, what have you, but you can call them up and say, listen, I have a few questions. First of all, how much do you charge? How do you work? How do you work? Do you work with guides? Do you work with angels? Do you work with guardians? Do you work with tarot cards? And then find out through that conversation if it helps you or if it doesn't. Connection is the all, because the more you're on the psychic's vibration, the more they're on your vibration, not only is it easier for them to read, but it's easier for you to be open. And that's another thing too. Comfort level will also dictate how open you are in the reading. It's like I say to people, I can't read a closed book, which is actually not quite true, because the medicine people have taught me how to get in through the window if I can't get through the door. So if I have someone, or an animal, for example, who is really ailing, really like a rescue, doesn't want to talk, traumatized, huge on my plate, you have to be able to have other ways in. If I can't talk directly to the animal, I'll go to their guides and guardian spirits, angels, what have you. With people who are traumatized, like sometimes I have women of violence who come into my office and my studio, I will connect to their guides, guardians, angels. I'll connect to their ancestors. Sometimes I'll do a healing on them through the reading. What makes me different as a reader is I am a healer, and I use my abilities to heal first. Any session you have with me is going to end up in some sort of healing, some sort of empowerment, some sort of unlocking within. And that's what I find exciting. And that's when I really know that our reader is real. When I've left the room, not only do I feel better about myself, but I have solutions. I have answers. Things that they've said have resonated with me. And then the key point, ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that you definitely need to be aware of and you need to look for in any reader. Say it with me, folks. Specifics. Really, specifics. They need to pull out stuff that they couldn't possibly know. Okay. As soon as somebody walks through my door, I'm already telling them about their kids. I'm telling about their parents. I'm telling about their health. I'm telling about them this and that. And I've never met these people. If they cannot give you specifics at some point in the reading, then it's not a reader for you. Doesn't mean they're not accurate. It could be that you're having a day, that they're having a day. It's irrelevant. They can't read you. And that's really the point of the matter. They could be a spectacular reader for one person and really suck for you. And the reason that happens is, again, it's vibrational. We're all vibrations. So I could be on one vibration where I can talk to angels and guides and guardians and all that kind of stuff. And then there's another reader who's on the vibration of animals alone. So all they can really connect to are animals readily. So they can get into everything, but animals will be their specialty. And then you get the angel seers who can talk to the angels very easily, but then have a hard time with animals. And then you have the mediums who can talk to the dead, but then have a hard time with animals. Doesn't mean that they can't do all of it. It's just that each of us has a real strong suit and a real forte. And then you even go deeper, because each animal communicator can talk to all animals, but each one will have a specialty. So for mine, it's the exotics. I can talk to dogs and cats, and I have a snake and I have a spider. And I find that it's much easier for me to be able to talk to them than anything else. And I have had the privilege of talking to a whale. I have had the privilege of talking to a tiger. And because I've had those honors, I know for myself that this was an easy assignment and this was a little bit more difficult. I know a boy who actually can talk to spiders, insects of any kind, arachnids, insects, anything like that. And when he was about 3.5 years old, he was sitting in the living room. I watched this and I came in and he had his finger on the ground and he was kind of making like a little wiggly kind of meandering path. And I didn't realize at the time until I got close, but there was a spider. And it would have been cool in itself that the spider was following his finger. But what made it really cool was the spider was following his finger backwards. I saw this. I witnessed it. Okay. So when we have an animal communicator, these are people who are not only sensitive to animals, but they can actually physically feel them, hear them, sense them. It's an exciting experience. And we're going to have a whole show on animal communications and animal spirit guides and animal spirits. That's going to be a phenomenal show. We're actually going to have an animal communicator on our show. We're going to have an animal Reiki specialist, which is a modality of healing that we work with as animal communicators. We're also going to have zoo days where we just have animals on just so we can talk to animals and maybe communicate with a couple ourselves, because I think that's fun. You'll find that I'm a real big animal person. I love my animals. I'll probably even bring a couple on the show myself. I've already cleared it, so Grant, if you're watching, I am going to bring Severus, my snake. Okay, so I hope, Anisha, you're not afraid of snakes. No, I love her even more now. This is, you rock, girl. So this particular show is happening because I want to make sure people understand that every episode is about intuition. It's about empowerment. It's about our own innate abilities to be aware of energy. And that's really what psychic work is all about. So when we ask you to call in for a reading, you are more than welcome to do it. And please understand, it takes a lot of courage to do that. And we're excited to have you on the show. And like I said, every second Thursday, we're going to have a psychic on. Every first Thursday, we're going to have an astrologer on. So you're more than welcome to call in. We're going to have people who have inspiring stories about energy and energy awareness. And I would love to have people call in. You can also leave us comments on YouTube, hashtag messages from an angel, Instagram, hashtag messages from an angel, Facebook, You can watch us live on that and comment as well. That's facebook.com/TCNTV, which I'm really happy I can remember. So we have all these different outlets that you can contact me through. And if you're really enjoying the show, please feel free to check out my website, which is raisingenergy.com. Again, the one thing that really will tell you whether or not a reader resonates with you is if they feel comfortable. I have had many clients that I've had for years now who found me on the internet and said, there was just something about you. There was something about you. They hear me on News Talk 1010 on the night side, and they turn around and they go, you know what? There was just something about you, something about what you said. And a lot of people think I'm a lot of fun too. That's the other thing. Not a big thing, but it is another thing. A lot of psychics are really, really serious. Like, they're so serious. And that's okay, because it is a very reverent job. We're dealing with people's lives. But I've always been taught by my mentors and those who've gone before me that it's something we need to take joy in and that we should have fun with. And I love that, especially when you're doing the animal work, the crazy things animals will say. My cat, when we moved into our house, he'd never been in a 3-story home before. And so we hadn't let them see the basement, our 4 cats, because we have 4 cats, a snake and a spider. And one day he got down into the basement. And when he went down there, I swear, this is what I heard. He went down, he looked down through the stairs, and his eyes were big like saucers. And he turned around and he said, oh my God, there's a whole nother house down here. And I actually heard this, and I was laughing for the whole day. And then you get really sad things, like my cat Mumbai, a beautiful cat, was a rescue. We found her under our deck, and when we got her back to health, that was a crazy animal communication story, which I will talk about. But yeah, you know, she was one of those animals that we just absolutely loved and adored. And we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get back.
Advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
And we're back with our final segment of the show, Are Psychics Legit? I personally think there are those who are, and there are those who are not. And that's what this show is about, to give you the idea, give you some tips as to finding what readers are legitimate and what ones are not. I was telling a story about my cat Mumbai. I just wanted to finish that because it was a really unique story. When she came to us, we found her under the deck. And I remember sitting at the window one night thinking, if this cat wants us to rescue her, she's got to come out from the deck because we can't reach her. And then about a few hours later, she actually did come out. And then I remember holding her, and she was in a bad way. She had the mane, she had all this stuff. It was horrible. And I didn't have the money to be able to help her. And I thought, you know what, if I'm supposed to help her, send someone to me who can help her. And so the next day I was actually reading, and this woman comes in, and I'm pretty good at actually pinning cultures, and I'm actually pretty good at pinning professions. And this woman, I couldn't pin her profession throughout the whole reading, but she was lovely. So we talked. And then afterwards, I don't remember how we got on the topic of Mumbai, and I was telling her about this cat that I had and how sad it was. And she looked at me, she goes, do you know what I do for a living? I said, you know what, for the life of me, I can't pin it. And she looked at me and she said, I'm a veterinarian, and every month I do charity work for one animal per month, and I want to work on your cat. I kid you not. Now, having said that. It always makes me emotional because that cat became my son's cat and my son's best friend. And when he went through some really hard times in his life, it was that cat who pulled him through. So it's an amazing thing when you can work with animal communications and guides and guardians and spirits. You know, some people call it coincidence, but that goes right back to the beginning of the show and dismissal. Right? Why dismiss it when you can just say thank you? Who cares where it came from? If it came from God, if it came from angels, if it came from your higher self, it's irrelevant. It came, and it's something you needed. So say thank you rather than dismissing it as something not possible, because it's possible. It happened. It's right in front of you. And where do we get that information? Speaking of guides and guardians and angels and God, we get that information from higher power. Higher beings and our higher selves. Our higher selves is our own spirit. We have all the information we need within us, but then we have a team around us, all of us, not just psychics who are professional. We have a team around us of guides, guardians, angels, archangels, spirit animals, spirit totems, things that would just blow your mind. The information is available to us. It's about sitting still, listening, and asking your question. Expect nothing, and in return, you will receive a wealth of information. It really is easy. It's very simple. If it was rocket science, I promise you I would not be doing it. I love the work I do. The work I do has brought me here to you, has taken me to platforms like News Talk 1010 and with my website, raisingenergy.com, and Raising Energy on Rogers TV. And because of that, I'm able to share all the messages of all the medicine people that I've spoken to. I'm able to help cats and dogs and animals of all kind, people, find closure in their lives. And yes, there are those people who don't believe a whit in what I do. And that's okay too. They're awesome because their way of thinking keeps others safe. So my reality here today is that people need to know without a shadow of a doubt that there are very specific things that you need to look for. Do you relate to them? Number one. Are they kind and compassionate? Number two. Do they care about you? Are they charging you exorbitant amounts of money? Do they frighten you or say something to make you uncomfortable? And, as I said, very important, can they pull out specifics? Okay? When you go to a reader, you do need to be open. In all our defense, some people will come in and they are trying to make us show pony and prove the work that we do. Prove to me you're a real psychic. You know, that's not my job. If you want somebody to prove themselves that they're real, go somewhere else. I know that I'm a real psychic. Come and do a session with me and you will find out, but don't show pony me. When you go into a psychic, understand they're there to help. They want to help you. They are there putting themselves out for you. They are being vulnerable when they get into that space. They're opening up their spirits to get information for you. So be kind, be nice. Open up the book so they can read it for you. And you can even do that. You can actually, before you get to any reading, you can say something like, you know what? Allow this reader to be able to read me. Give them the information they need to help me today because I need this help. I need this guidance. Just close your eyes and say it quietly. You can even say it in the room with them quietly. Because when you do that, you're giving them permission. And permission is a huge thing. One of the things that my angel seer friends have always told me is when you work with angels, you actually have to ask them permission. Angels can only go so far in your life. But when you turn around and say, you know, Archangel Michael, I give you permission to protect me in this particular situation, he will protect you always, but now you said you can go further. You can do what you need to do. Bring out that fiery sword, baby. Okay? There are specific ways of working with different entities, guides, guardians, angels, archangels, for those of you who are intuitive. But if you don't know who to work with specifically, what I like to do is I like to turn around and say, whoever is out there of the light, please help me in this. I give you permission. So again, you don't have to be a professional psychic. Anybody out there can say this. You know, it's that whole idea of whoever is out there of the light. I ask you to come in and I ask you to help me with this particular thing. And if your intentions are correct, because a lot of people are afraid of their own abilities because they think, you know, the boogie monster is going to come and get them. as long as your intentions are correct, you got nothing to worry about. And most people, they don't want to go there, and it scares them to go there, so they're not going to go there. And you have to be built for it. Medicine people can go into the deep, dark places of subconscious and work with the dirt and the energetic mud and the lower energies and all that kind of stuff because they were born to do this. If you're not born to do that, you're not going to call anything to you that's going to harm you. You're not. Most people, 99% of people, are not going to do that. So if you have abilities, be aware of them. Just be in tune with them. In other words, when you get a vision, just go, what was that? Don't dismiss it. Dismiss nothing. Honor yourself. Do what you feel is right in your life. And this is how you can access this for yourself as an everyday individual. And if you do want to go to somebody, even if you are an intuitive, make sure it's someone you trust. Referrals are highly important. And I've said that to clients too. You know what? If I don't resonate with you, here, I've got 2 or 3 readers that you can go to. That's another thing. A really, really good reader won't see competition. They're not going to see competition at all. And the reason for that is that we all read differently. I don't care if there are similar styles or techniques. The information I'm getting is going to be always in a different way than another reader does, and it might be more comfortable for you than the other person. Again, we are vibrational. So I had a woman come in once, and she had a horse, and I read all the emotional stuff that was going on the horse, and she got angry, and she was like, this is what I needed to know. I took this horse to 9 different readers. They couldn't pull it out. They saw the physical stuff, because that's how they can read. I am very emotional. You know, you can tell that from my show. So I work very well on the emotional, spiritual level. On the mental, physical level, I'm amazing, but that's, again, not my strongest suit. My strongest suit is to tap into guides, guardians, angels, archangels, spirits of animals, spirit animals, which we'll talk about in a whole nother show. Stay tuned for that one, because I swear that is going to be so mind-blowing. Spirit animals, native aboriginal animals, it's just wow is all I can say. Chinese symbols, Chinese animals, all of these things are so beautifully energetic. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I really appreciate you coming to the 2nd episode of Messages from an Angel. If you want to know more about us, you can go to #MessagesFromAnAngel on Twitter and Instagram. You can go to my particular site, raisingenergy.com, /TCN Messages from an Angel, and that will actually access all the different stuff I'm talking about. So you can go directly to my website and access mytcntv.com, which is our website, and you can actually see all of our different shows there. We can see, I haven't memorized the different titles yet, but you can see all our different shows on mytcntv.com, and you can access my show and all that kind of stuff. So until next week, thank you so much. This is Angel Morgan, and you've been watching Messages from an Angel.